At the start of the movie, we see a girl sprinting away from two boys. She had just swiped their chemical substances and was making a run for it. To stash the stolen stuff, she dashed into an old abandoned factory. Somehow she managed to break the lock and sneak inside. Before the boys could even react, a can of spinach came flying at them. Yes, the same kind of spinach Popeye used to gulp down. One of the boys, who must have been homeschooled by cartoons, remembered the story of Popeye. Trying to act cool, he turned to Popeye and said, "If you know what's good for you, get out of here." Yeah, because threatening a muscle-bound cartoon legend always ends well, right? Genius. Hearing that, Popeye was not amused. With his giant hand, he grabbed the boy and yanked him into the shadows. And just like that, he ripped the guy's organs clean out of his body. Guess spinach really gives you more than just iron, huh? The other boy, in full panic mode, tried to use the girl as a shield. He held a knife to her neck, hoping to blackmail Popeye, because nothing screams bravery like hiding behind a girl you were chasing 5 minutes ago. But Popeye wasn't having it. With just a flick of his hand, he shattered the boy's arm like a breadstick. Then Popeye placed the guy's face between his hands, gave one solid squeeze, and that was it. Lights out for him. Talk about a hands-on approach. Popeye even helped the girl afterward. But instead of gratitude, the girl looked at him and said, "You turned out to be a monster. Girl, he just saved your life from $2 store criminals." Show some respect. That really ticked Popeye off. So in a fit of rage, he killed her too. And right then, the movie's title appeared on the screen. Popeye the Slayer. Yup, not your Saturday morning cartoon anymore. Anyway, we meet a guy named Dexter. He's making a documentary on Popeye. So naturally, he heads to that same creepy old factory. We've seen this place before. It's where all that chaos happened. He's joined by Olivia, and they're meeting up with 3 other friends at the factory. Inside, we see the factory owner, Lex. He's in talks with a state agent to sell the place. The agent says, "I'm willing to sell this property, but first we need to deal with the rumors about this place." Lex, confused, asks, "What rumors?" The guy replies, 20 years ago, this place was shut down because the spinach here was found to be infected." He continued, "If that story was false, why didn't the factory ever reopen? And if none of that is true, does Popeye really live here?" While they were chatting, Lex suddenly caught a strange smell. He walked ahead to investigate. Meanwhile, the girl standing behind him was shaking in her boots. Suddenly, she heard loud, thumping footsteps approaching fast. Someone grabbed her shoulder. She screamed like she saw her GPA. Turns out it was just the guard. Honestly, the girl screamed like she just realized it wasn't pumpkin spice season yet. Though Lex tried to explain it was only the security guard, the girl wasn't buying it. She grabbed her stuff and ran out of there like it was Black Friday at Walmart. In her panic, she left her file behind. After that, Lex was ready to head out too. But before leaving, he told his buff security guard, "If there's anyone inside, take care of them. The factory's about to be sold, and I don't want anything messing up the deal." With that, Lex peaced out. And Mr. Muscles, the guard, started his patrol, fearless and focused. As he roamed the factory, he stumbled upon 2 dead bodies. Yep, the same unlucky dudes Popeye had obliterated earlier. Right then, giant Popeye appeared in front of him. Thinking he was invincible, the guard charged at Popeye. Big mistake. This guy really thought he was in a Marvel movie. But Popeye? He didn't even flinch. Popeye hit the guy with one hand and threw him to the ground like he was tossing out the trash. And without breaking a sweat, he crushed the man's head under his boot splat. And that was the end of him. Brew thought he was the main character. Turned out he was just the opening scene. Then we cut back to the group of friends. They had gone to a bar to pick up another friend. While she finished up her stuff, the rest of them started talking about Popeye the Slayer Man. Katie, full of confidence and zero common sense, laughed it off. She said, "That's all just made-up nonsense. No way it's real." Katie had the skepticism of a Reddit troll and the survival instincts of a piece of toast. An old man sitting behind them was eavesdropping and decided to drop some wisdom. He warned, "Don't treat this like a joke, that factory. Popeye the Slayer Man still lives there and he's waiting for his love." Then he leaned in a little and said, "If you value your life, don't go there." Naturally, that advice went in one ear and out the other, because movie logic, right around then, Katie's boyfriend and a couple of his loser buddies rolled in. They all chatted a bit, and then the entire squad left for the factory. The moment they arrived, Olivia noticed someone standing at a window. It was Popeye, but the second she blinked, he vanished. Now there was a big lock on the factory gate. How could they make their documentary? They considered breaking the lock, but Olivia popped it open in less than a minute, like she was cracking open a soda. Someone give Olivia a medal or a background check. Once inside, Katie got a call from her boyfriend, but instead of picking it up, she just hit decline like she was skipping a scam call. That, of course, sent her boyfriend into full psycho mode. He started stewing in his own jealousy, and his bros, who clearly majored in instigation, said, "Maybe Katie and Dexter are hooking up behind your back." Because nothing says supportive friends like hyping up your buddy's mental breakdown, fueled by paranoia and too many energy drinks. The three of them headed to the factory. Meanwhile, the documentary crew couldn't stick together. They assigned Katie to monitor the camera feeds. Dexter and Olivia went off to plant cameras on one side, and their other two friends explored the other side. Olivia and Dexter got spooked for a second. A can kept rolling in front of them repeatedly. It was Popeye's signature spinach can. They started panicking, expecting a cartoon fist to follow next. But after some tense moments, they realized it was just some pigeons. Yes, they were getting haunted by birds. That's how low the budget was. Still, they reassured themselves that Popeye wasn't real. What they didn't know was that Popeye was literally standing behind them, lighting a cigar like he was about to drop a mixtape. Dexter managed to set up cameras all over the place, and, surprise, Popeye got caught in the footage. But Katie was so glued to her phone, scrolling like she was in the middle of a TikTok marathon, that she didn't even glance at the monitor. Katie treating a haunted murder factory like it's just another Starbucks. Meanwhile, the state agent who had come earlier returned to grab the documents she'd forgotten. As she picked them up, she stumbled across the guard's corpse, the same guy she had seen alive that morning. His face was so mangled, she screamed like she just saw her credit card bill. When she turned around, boom, Popeye, the Slayer man, was right there. Translation: game over. She bolted and tried to hide in a nearby room, but in classic horror movie fashion, her hair got caught outside the door. Popeye grabbed it and yanked it so hard her scalp probably filed a resignation letter. She collapsed in pain. Popeye entered the room like it was just another day at the office. He picked her up, tossed her into a spinach cutting machine, and turned her into minced meat. Guess she really became part of Popeye's balanced breakfast. Dexter and Olivia had reached the office by now. In the middle of the conversation, Olivia told Dexter that she had left the town years ago and only just came back for some specific reason. Apparently, there was important paperwork that needed to be collected. These documents could reveal the hidden past of the factory and there were strange myths surrounding it. The problem? They didn't have the keys again. But Olivia wasn't about to let a little thing like a lock stop her. She showed off her skills like it was her party trick and popped open every drawer without a single key. Seriously, how does she always have time to practice lockpicking? Is she applying for a side hustle with Ocean's 11? Inside, they found a report, one that uncovered the truth about the factory. It turns out it had been shut down because poisonous material was discovered in the spinach cans. A dangerous strain of bacteria had been found in the spinach they once proudly sold. Dexter was stunned. Why wasn't something like this ever in the news? Olivia, clearly more street smart, told him that Lex, who basically owned half the city, had the influence to bury any scandal. Dexter looked like he'd just realized water was wet. Congratulations, Sherlock. While they were talking, their other two friends showed up and joined them. Now all four of them headed deeper into the factory, reaching a room where a creepy poem was scrawled across the walls. It warned, if you smell smoke nearby, run, and if you're scared, you're already dead. Popeye got you. Meanwhile, Joey and his buddies had also arrived at the factory. Joey, still fuming like a broken microwave. At the same time, Popeye was face to face with Katie. Katie, blissfully unaware until that moment, turned around and screamed when she saw him and took off running for her life. She crashed into Joey, her boyfriend. Before she could even explain anything, Joey, raging and irrational, broke her phone. Nice move, Einstein. That phone had more sense than you ever will. Now Popeye was chasing after all of them. One of Joey's friends tried to get clever and stab Popeye in the shoulder. Why he thought stabbing a cartoon muscle monster with a kitchen knife would help is anyone's guess. Maybe he thought this was an anime boss fight, but obviously that tickled Popeye at best. In retaliation, Popeye grabbed him and ripped out his eyeballs like he was peeling grapes. Another guy stepped up and tried to pull a gun, but Popeye barely flicked his wrist and snapped the dude's arm like a breadstick. Panicked, the second guy ran for his life. Along with Joey, yep, real brave heroes, leaving their buddy behind to become spinach stew. Strangely though, Popeye hadn't hurt Katie at all. For now, meanwhile, the runner reached his car and jumped in, hoping to escape. But when he slammed the pedal, the car wouldn't move. He glanced in the rearview mirror and saw Popeye casually lifting the back of the car like it was a gym warm-up. Panicked, the guy leapt out of the car and ran. Popeye gave chase and hurled an anchor at him. Direct hit. But Popeye didn't stop there. He marched up and used the anchor to slash the poor guy's throat. Overkill? Absolutely. But Popeye's clearly not in the mood for subtlety. Back in the factory, Joey, Katie's ever-loving, always-failing boyfriend, was still stumbling around trying to find a way out. He heard footsteps behind him and assumed it was Popeye. Without checking, he fired his gun. It was Katie. This man just unlocked the worst boyfriend of the year achievement, with bonus points for being an absolute moron. Hearing the gunshot, Popeye came over, and what did Joey do? He left Katie, again, in danger again. At this point, Katie should dump him and date the spinach can. Now, the group resplit into two pairs to search for Katie. As one pair wandered off, they stumbled across a dead body. Horrified, they immediately decided they needed to alert the police. But then, surprise, Popeye showed up again. They all tried to run in panic, but one guy tripped. His foot got stuck in a net. He wasn't injured much, but his foot wasn't budging. As he started shaking the net to get free, some pieces of the iron rods from the net fall on his body and get lodged right into him. Because of that, the poor guy dies right in front of his friend. The girl's completely horrified now, because all of his blood just splattered across her face like some grotesque paint job from hell. Popeye is still chasing her down. Seeing this, she lets out another scream and starts running for her life. But she doesn't make it very far. She ends up running the exact same way her friend did, and because repeating the same mistake is a team sport, she trips over something too. And guess what? She falls right on top of her impaled buddy. The iron rods sticking out of his body stab her as well. And just like that, she dies too. Congratulations. You both died a dumb and painful death because spatial awareness apparently skipped you both. Meanwhile, Olivia and Dexter, completely clueless about all this madness, reach a room filled with spinach cans, and it's decorated with pictures of Popeye and his family, real wholesome serial killer vibes. They also find some toys belonging to Popeye's daughter. Scattered newspaper clippings reveal the real story. Turns out Popeye's wife used to work in this factory, and she's the one who exposed the truth about the poisonous spinach. After that, the factory was shut down. And then Popeye's wife mysteriously disappeared. Lex had her killed. Popeye, who was head over heels in love with her, stayed back in the factory searching for her. He's still waiting, trying to survive. He's been eating the same toxic spinach, because of course nothing says love like eating radioactive salad until you mutate into a rage-fueled vegetable zombie. As a result, his body mutated, and now he's more monster than man. Hearing the whole truth, Olivia and Dexter get rightfully freaked out and decide they need to leave. Fast. But before leaving, they want to warn their friends. Instead, they find their friends' corpses. The horror hits them like a truck. Dexter decides they should escape through the second exit, but the moment he goes there, bam! He runs straight into Popeye. Popeye grabs his hand and lifts him off the ground. Dexter's hand snaps like a twig. Before Popeye can turn him into salsa, Olivia steps in and begs him to stop. Surprisingly, Popeye listens, and here comes the shocker. Olivia is actually Popeye's daughter. She came back to the factory after all these years to find her dad, and maybe her mom. She looks at Popeye with tears in her eyes. The reunion's emotional, and they're about to hug it out like a long-lost family therapy session from hell. But then, bang! Joey shows up and shoots Popeye, because of course the guy who left his girlfriend to die twice now shows up at the worst possible time. Trigger happy and still dumb. Popeye is furious now. He's ready to turn Joey into mulch. In a desperate move, Joey grabs Olivia to shield himself. Big mistake, champ. Grabbing the monster's daughter was the IQ equivalent of licking an electric fence. Popeye grabs the same hand Joey touched Olivia with and breaks it like a breadstick. Then he uses that same hand to give Joey his final punishment, death. While Popeye is busy smashing Joey like a piñata, Olivia grabs Dexter and rushes out of the factory. Outside, they find a wounded Katie, shot and barely conscious. The police have arrived. Thanks to Katie, when the cops ask what happened, Olivia lies. She says a madman did all this. And when they ask who he is, she lies again, says he escaped. But as the camera pans up, we see Popeye watching from a window, silent, lurking, knowing full well Olivia will come back. Because something else had gone wrong in Lex's empire. Due to rising tension, Lex himself shows up at the factory, probably to salvage his shady business deals. But instead, he meets Popeye, and Popeye doesn't waste time. He says something weird, then crushes Lex's face between his hands like a ripe tomato. Lex dies on the spot. That's what you get for running a town like a mafia boss and covering up deadly spinach. Enjoy your green smoothie in hell, and with that, the story ends.